In this video, I'll be showing you guys how you can set up an AI phone caller for your business. So this phone caller will actually go through all the list of numbers that you have. It's going to call all the leads one by one. It's going to try to re-engage with the leads, gather more information about them, and see if they're maybe interested in your services or not. So, for example, if you're a real estate business owner and you have a list of numbers that you want to go through, it's going to basically go through all the list of numbers, see if the leads are still interested in buying or selling a property or not, collect all the information and then update it in your CRM automatically. And it's also going to book appointments for you all on autopilot so that you don't have to lift a finger during this entire process. Now I'm gonna be heading over to our CRM over here. So for this video, I'll be using Google Sheets as our CRM. Of course, we can use HubSpot or maybe any other application we want as our CRM, but for this video, I'll be just using uh, the Google Sheets. Now, as you guys can see, I have a sample list of sample data over here. So it's basically going to go through all the numbers and then see according to the information that each of the leads have. It's basically going to try to re-engage with them. So as they're lost leads or maybe they're old leads, so it's going to use the information to actually re-engage with them, gather more information, and then it's going to try to book appointments. And after the call has been finished, after each of the calls are being executed, we're going to be able to track the progress over here using the our caller ID, the call outcome, basically how the call actually went, what is the next step, and of course the call summary of the entire call. The cool part about this AI phone caller is that it's actually very versatile. So it's not only for real estate, of course, but it can actually we can actually build this for healthcare or maybe other home services, any businesses that actually requires human interaction. So now I'm going to be showing you guys a very quick demo of how the AI phone caller actually works so that you guys can see it firsthand of how it actually looks like to talk with an AI. So yeah, without further ado, let's just hop onto the demo. All right, so I got a phone call over here and I'm going to pick it up and see what's it about.
Hi, is this John?
Yes, this is John. Who is this?
Hi, John. This is Eva from Prime Properties. It's been a little while since we last connected about your interest in an apartment in New York. I wanted to check in and see if you're still interested or if any of your preferences have changed.
Yeah, I'm still interested in purchasing a property in New York, and I plan to purchase the property within the next 3 months. That's my plan.
Your preferred move date is still set for March 1. That sounds great, John. Just to confirm, your budget is still around $50,000 and you're looking to move by March 1, 2024, right? Since you're looking to make a move soon. Would you like to set up a quick call to explore some property options that fit your criteria?
Yeah, sure. I'd like to schedule an appointment for 13th November at 3 p.m. if that's possible.
Give me a moment. Perfect. I've scheduled your appointment for November 13th at 3 p.m. I'm looking forward to discussing some property options with you then. If you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to reach out. Have a wonderful day. John?
Thank you. You too. Take care. Bye. All right. So now it's going to actually analyze the transcript of the entire conversation, and then it's going to basically update our CRM over there. So once this scenario has been completed, we can check the results over here, and as you guys can see, the call outcome was success because we were the lead was the lead, which was me. I did book an appointment, so the next step would be to notify the team about that the appointment was actually booked. And we can also see the call summary over here. So yeah, that's how it looks like. I could have actually dragged the conversation a lot longer, but I just wanted to show you guys a very quick demo of how this actually works. All right, it's basically having a chat GPT on your phone that actually speaks like a real time human. So yeah, that's kind of how it looks like. So now that you guys have seen an overview of how the AI caller looks like in real time and how it performs, I'm gonna be showing you a very quick overview of what tools we're gonna be using for this video for creating the AI caller. So we're gonna start off with Vapi. This is our main platform where we'll be creating an AI assistant that will actually call the leads, all the lost leads, and then ask questions. It will be our main platform for creating the AI caller. That's it. And we're gonna be using the Make.com platform. So Make is actually we'll be building all the logical operations for our AI caller system on Make. So, for example, whenever the lead wants to book an appointment, it's going to trigger a scenario on Make, and then it's going to from the Make scenario, it's going to book an appointment on Google Calendar. It's going to be responsible for all the custom functions and stuff. And after that, we're going to be using Google Sheets for storing all the information and tracking all our leads. We're basically going to be using this as our CRM. Of course, we can also use other CRM such as HubSpot, Airtable, or maybe any other CRM you want. We can of course integrate that, but for this video I'm going to be using Google Sheets. Now, three make scenarios that we will use for this video. One is the appointment setter scenario, which I talked about a minute ago. So it's going to be responsible for handling all the appointment setting and stuff. So for example, if the lead wants to book an appointment and maybe the slot is already booked, it's going to trigger the make.com scenario on make, and then it's going to check the calendar, and then it's going to suggest alternate time slots, such as the time that you asked for 4 p.m. it's already booked. Can you cannot, but we're free from maybe 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., so you can book anywhere you want within that time zone. So it's going to this scenario will be handling all of that. And then another one is the call summary scenario. So basically, after the end of each call, it's going to analyze the transcript of the entire conversation during the call, and then it's going to analyze all the information and then store it in our CRM, which is Google Sheets. And uh, and the third one is the call initiator scenario. Now this scenario will be responsible for triggering all the calls. So if you want to call a bunch of leads all together, maybe one by one, then this scenario will be responsible. It's basically going to go through our CRM, which contains all the list of phone numbers, and then it's going to call each of the leads one by one. All right, and then it's going to basically record the conversation, ask for the ask if they're interested in booking an appointment, and then it's going to analyze the transcript of the entire call, and then it's going to store it in a CRM. So yeah, now you can access all the templates I'll be using in this video absolutely for free in the description down below. Just check the link in the description and you'll see a resource hub. So you'll find all the templates down below. If you're a business owner and you want to implement this kind of AI callers into your business, so for example, you want the AI caller to handle all the inbound and the outbound calls, so that you can focus on the more important tasks for your business, then you can book a free AI audit with us in the description down below. Now, without further ado, let's continue into the tutorial. All right, so now we've headed over to Vapi, and this is how the dashboard looks like. So if you're new to Vapi, then this is where you can build AI phone callers for your business, or if you're running an agency, then this is where you can build all the AI phone callers. So anyways, we're gonna head over to platform, and then we're gonna be creating an assistant right away. And then let's head over to this one. Now this is the AI caller that I've set up for this video, and this is how the prompt looks like. I understand if it's pretty big, but I'm gonna be sharing the prompt with you. You'll find this in my resource hub, so that you can go through this yourself and understand what it's about. But I'm gonna be showing you a quick overview of what it's all about. All right, just the summary of the prompt. And I've broken this down into multiple steps. So for example, you can see the role over here, which will be the basically I'm just asking the AI or the LLM to perform in certain ways. So you are an AI powered real estate reactivation specialist reconnecting with potential clients who previously showed interest in buying or selling properties, and I've given it the name and it works for. And then I've also stated its goal so that it acts accordingly, and this role part is very important. So yeah, now I've also mentioned the task and how what task should it perform, I mean step in a step by step manner, so that it executes each step of the process properly. I mean, after we are building an AI phone caller, so it has to be very like simplified but yet straight to the point, so that the LLM, the AI, actually understands how to actually respond to each of the maybe in during the conversation basically. Now, I'm also gonna be mentioning the specifics over here. So this is basically high interest, lowers uncertain interest, and if you're confused what this is about, then I'm gonna be heading over to the CRM over here. So as you guys can see, I have the names, the phone number, the email, everything over here. But we are gonna be feeding the AI or the LLM with all this information over here. So as we're gonna be calling all the leads individually, the AI caller has to know what's going on, like what their data actually is, like when was the last time they were contacted, and what was their property type, and which location did they choose to buy a property, right? And also we're going to be feeding the LLM with the budget. So yeah, so that it actually knows which lead to call, and what information do they have on the lead, so it can actually talk accordingly and then persuade them into booking an appointment with you guys. Now, this is also the preferred move date. So we're gonna be feeding all the information to the AI using custom variables, and I'm gonna be showing this step by step. So yeah, so this is the interest level that you guys were seeing in the prompt, and as you guys can see, I've categorized the of course this is actually a sample data, but just to show you an example of how it actually looks like and how it actually works. So I've categorized the interest level into three types: low, medium, or high. So for example, if the interest level were low or medium or high, it's going to act in three different ways accordingly. So for example, let me just switch to full screen. Nice. Now, if the interest was high, if the lead previously expressed a high level of interest, proceed with a more direct approach, assuming that they're still interested. So, for example, high first name. Now, if you guys are confused what this is, like this is the variables that it will be pulling from the CRM, which is the Google Sheet. So it will be pulling out the first name, the property type for each of the leads during each of the calls, so that it's more personalized, right? Instead of being a lot more generic. So yeah, anyways, this is prime properties reaching out. This is, I'm just providing it an example of the conversation. And last time we spoke, you were quite interested in property type around location, and I'd love to know if you're still looking, or if any of your preferences have changed. Now, if the interest level was low for for the certain lead, then it's going to act in a different manner. And yeah, there is also another type of logic happening over here. So it's the times contacted logic based on last contact date. So if the range is like less than 30 days, like they were contacted quite recently, then treat as a recent follow-up, use a friendly check-in to encourage engagement. I'm just instructing the LLM to just analyze this kind of information properly and then act accordingly. So this makes the AI phone caller a lot more dynamic, so that it can handle certain scenarios. Anyways, yeah, combined date logic. So if last contacted over 90 days and preferred move date is within 1 or 2 months. By the way, we're gonna be feeding the AI with all the information in the very beginning of the prompt. So as you guys can see, this is the lead information, the first name, the location, the property type, sorry, and then the last contacted. All of the information that you guys just saw in the Google Sheets, it's going to analyze all the information over here at the very beginning of the prompt. Now, I've chosen to put this information at the beginning of the prompt instead of the middle or at the end, is because I was actually analyzing this information with ChatGPT. So I was asking that if you are an expert prompt engineer, where would you actually put this prompt? I mean, where would you actually feed this information to the AI phone caller? And it said that it's best if you actually put it in the beginning of the prompt, because it will be more aware of the information that you provided at the beginning. Because sometimes if the prompt is big, like similar to this one, then it sometimes hallucinates the information which are at the middle of it. So it's important that you actually structure your prompt properly, especially if it's very big, like just like this one. And if you're building a complex AI agent or an AI phone caller, so it's critical that you actually nail your prompt accordingly. So anyways, let's head over to the appointment setting part. If the lead shows interest, suggest scheduling a meeting and use the set appointment tool to confirm details. So I'm just instructing the AI caller that if the conversation goes smoothly, then you can just suggest them to book an appointment with you. Yeah. And after that example script, I'm just providing an example of the conversation. So this is the AI caller, the lead, and this is just an example of the conversation. You can just go through this prompt by yourself. It's not that too much complicated. And I'm just gonna be showing you heading over to the tools section over here. So this is where I've created the set appointment tool. It's quite easy to set up a tool on Vapi. Just head over to tools, then put the webhook over here, which you will get from make.com. And after that, maybe I'm just gonna write something here. Can I click on save? I don't think so. Anyways, I'm just gonna click on next just to show you guys an example. Now we're gonna be writing a property name over here. So you can just write booking time and of course describe the property. So in that case, it's going to store all the information, which is the time and date which was asked by the user. So for example, if the AI phone caller is talking with a lead and they want to book an appointment for, let's say, 4 p.m. at 10th November. So 10th November 4 p.m. is the information over here. So that is the date and time asked by the user. So we can just simply write that date and time which was asked by the user, and then click over to next, and then you can just write the name. And this is important that you actually name your tool properly, and it has to be relevant to the tool, to the function that it's going to uh, perform. So in that case, as it's going to be setting an appointment, me basically, then so I've just set the name to set appointment, and I can simply put the description such as this tool will be responsible for booking an appointment whenever the user wants to do so, something like that. So I'm just gonna be showing you my one, so you can just simply copy it. This was the tool name, just like I explained, and I've set the tool description to this tool will be used whenever the user decides to book an appointment. I hope you get the understanding now. And this is the property name. Now this is the booking time, and this is the description of the property. These are two different things. So one is the tool description, and the other one is property description. So you can add multiple properties within a tool. So if I click on like add over here, where's the add? Oh yeah, this all already over here. So I can also add another property. So maybe, I don't know, add extra information. So what is the reason for booking an appointment, something like that, if it's necessary. So anyways, this will contain the booking time and date which was asked by the user. So this is the tool that I've set up, and if I click on integration, this is the webhook that I've connected on my make scenario, which you will see very soon in the video. Now, if I click on phone numbers, but I'll not be clicking on the phone number because it's going to expose my phone number over here. But if you click on phone number, you can actually set up a phone number on Fappy real quick. So if you want to set up a phone number ASAP, then you can just buy a phone number using your credit card. It's going to cost maybe $2, I guess, and then you can just set up your phone number right away, and you're good to go. But if you want to use Twilio or Vanash, which is provided by Vappy, then you can just head over here and just choose Twilio, and you can create a free account pretty quick in 5 minutes. And then Twilio will provide you with a phone number, and then you can just copy the phone number and paste it over here. It's a pretty simple setup, but I'm just not going to be going over here because it provides it contains some information, privacy and stuff. Anyways, I'm just gonna be heading over to the prompt for the last time, and of course, this is the our provider, OpenAI, ChatGPT. So this is the GPT-4o real-time cluster. This is the latest version, by the way, and this is the latency is really small, really small. So it's really hard to understand if this is an AI phone caller or not. I mean, if the call is actually generated by AI or not. The difference is so small, it's really hard to understand. Anyways, you can of course choose different versions. So if you're looking for a cost effective option, then you can choose 3.5, but it's very much outdated at this point. So you can go for ChatGPT 4o mini cluster. So I think the latency is a little bit higher now. But anyways, I'm just gonna go for the real time because this is the latest version, and it's really good. I mean, it's really hard to distinguish if it's an AI caller or not. You can also turn this feature on and off. So as you guys can see, it's a detect emotion. So if you enable this property, the LLM, the AI will become act a bit more smarter, and it will be able to detect the emotion of the lead, like if they're expressing joy or anger, anything, and then it's going to use this as an additional information, and then it's going to respond accordingly. So yeah, VAP is really good. I mean, you can create this AI assistants pretty quick, but you have to do a little bit more practice just to get the hang of it, because there's a lot of things you should know. So anyways, this is the temperature. This is basically if you increase the temperature, I mean, let's just head over here. So it's used to control the randomness of the output. I mean, if the less the temperature is, the more it's going to stick with the prompt that you've given in. So if you increase the temperature, you're basically providing it more flexibility outside your prompt, right? I hope it makes sense. And if you also want to feed your AI phone caller with extra information about your business, so for example, you're a real estate agency or maybe a marketing agency, any type of business, and you have information about your business which you want your AI phone caller to be aware of, then you can click on the knowledge base and then add a new file over here, and you can add your PDF or maybe a document, anything you want. And the AI phone caller will be using this as a knowledge base to uh, respond your questions about your business if the lead has any. So we will have to change the prompt up a bit because I haven't added any knowledge base for this assistant. I'll be creating a tutorial on this very soon, so not a big deal. Anyways, we can head over to the transcriber. This is basically going to be responsible for converting all the speech to text. And as we're using the GPT-4 or real-time cluster, it's basically restricting us from using certain voices. So if we head over to voice, you can see that there's a lot more options now. And as GPT-4, as the real-time API is pretty new, so it's actually restricting us from using another like other voices which are provided by VAPI. So you can have access to 11 labs and other type of cool platforms which have really good voices. And yeah, you can also access 11 labs using their API. So if you want to if you want your AI phone caller to act like using your own voice, then you can also do that. Basically, you have to create a recording and then feed it to your like give this recording to maybe 11 labs and then create an API system. And after that, you can connect this with FAPI, and then the AI phone caller will be able to speak with your own voice. So I mean, it's a no-brainer actually. Yeah, it's getting crazier day by day. And we're gonna be heading over to functions. So this is the function that this is the tool that we're going to be choosing over here, of course, so that it's aware of the tool that we have created. So we're going to be choosing the tool over here, and of course, as I've created only one tool, it's showing one tool over here, but we can also choose multiple tools. So yeah, now I'm going to be heading over to advanced, and you can see there is a lot more functions over here. And I'm just going to be heading over to this one. So this is the server URL. This is actually going to be responsible for the end of the call. So for example, after the conversation has ended and after the phone has been like the line has been declined or cut, maybe whatever, the entire transcript will be sent to this webhook basically. And this webhook, I've set it up on a make scenario, which you guys will be seeing pretty soon. So these are the information that's going to be transferred to the webhook. So this is the end of call report, the function call, and this is the transcript, the hang, the function calls, all that stuff. The caller ID will be receiving all these information into our webhook. Right now, there's also a lot of features over here. As you guys can see, the number of words this is the number of words that the customer has say before the assistant will stop talking. So this is like really smart. So you can just play around with this settings a little bit and adjust this according to your needs. All right. So that's all I have for VAPI. I hope you understand each of the functions. So for example, the system prompt, the first message, and how I've set up the custom variables. But of course, I'll be showing you a more in-depth explanation on the mix scenarios. But I hope you understand the functions of VAPI and how I've actually set this up. So now I'm gonna be heading over to my mix scenarios. Without further ado, let's continue. So this is the first scenario, and this scenario will be responsible for initiating all the calls. And as you can see, I've connected my Google Sheets over here. So what it's going to do is basically it's going to go through all the information. Let me just go through the Google Sheets one more time. So it has all the information, right? So it has the first name, the location, the property type. So like I said, I'll be putting out all the information to my AI phone caller so that it personalizes the call accordingly. So yeah, now let's head over to my make scenario. Now I'm just gonna be switching over to full screen. So this is the repeater module. It's basically going to be repeating all the entire scenario over and over again, so that the call is being executed one at a time. So I've set the repeater to 1 and 3, and I think the repeats can be switched to 10, I guess. So I've switched it to 10. So because as I have 10 leads, and of course these are sample data, I mean these phone numbers are not even real, but as I have 10 leads over here, so I just switched the value to 10. So it's actually going to start off from 2 over here, as because this is the first one is the header. So these are the real data over here. So it's going to be basically the initial value will be 2, and then it's going to is the final value will be 1. The repeat value will be 11. Sorry. So it's going to iterate over all the information, all the rows over here from the CRM, and then it's going to be feeding all the passing all the information of VAPI during each of the calls. So if I head over to this, I'm just gonna be changing this to 2, and as I have 10 10 rows 10 rows of data, so I'm just gonna be choosing 11. But if you have like hundreds of leads, so you can just take the row number and just add it over here, set the initial value to 2, and then just how many rows you have as your data. So if you have 100 leads, then you can choose maybe 101, something like that. So yeah, it's pretty simple. Now I'm gonna be clicking over OK. Hold on, let me just get rid of this. Now this is the Google Sheets. So it will be accessing all the information on my Google Sheets using this module. So as you guys can see, the name of my sheets was sample data. So it's the sample data over here. And I've basically chosen this value, which will be coming out from the repeater as an iterator value. So for example, after the first call has been executed, the initial value was 2. So after the entire scenario has been executed, the entire scenario has been executed, the value will be changed from 2 to 3. So it's going to basically extract all the information. So as it was 2 initially, it's going to basically pull out all the information from the second row, and then once the call has been initiated for this one, for this person, then it's going to head over to the next row. As from using the repeater model, it's basically going to pass out all the information to VAPI, and then this process will repeat for all the leads that we have in this Google Sheets. So I hope you understand how this actually works. So for each of the rows, the value will be changing over here, and this is exactly how we'll be moving from one lead to another in this one scenario only using the repeater function. So that's it for this module. Now let's head over to this set variables. So this is where we'll be setting out some important variables over here. So we'll be using the VAPI API key, our phone number ID, and our assistant ID. All of this information can be found on VAPI. So let's just head over to VAPI, and basically this is the assistant ID. As you guys can see, there's a copy assistant ID, and then you head over to phone numbers, and then you're gonna see a similar box like this one, and then you can just simply copy your phone number ID over here, and for VAPI API keys, you can just head over to profile, not profile, I mean, um, click on this, and then just you can see API keys over here. So if I select API keys, this is the API key that I have, and we're gonna just simply you're gonna have to simply copy this and then paste it over to VAPI. This is how you're gonna be connecting your make scenario with VAPI, as we do not have any webhooks over here. So this is how we're gonna be initiating the calls from make using VAPI. So this scenario will actually be responsible for initiating all the calls, not VAPI. And I hope it makes sense now. So this is the first name variable that I've created, and this is the value that we got from our Google Sheets. So as you guys can see, this is the John, we have all the values over here. And so if you're not seeing these values in your scenario, then you can just run this module once. Click on this, right click this on this module, and then you can select run this module only. And I'm just gonna select, I'm gonna put the value to 3. So it's going to pull out all the information from the third row. So it's Jane now instead of John. So this is how it actually works. Now for set variables, I'm gonna be choosing the first name over here. Just select this. For phone number, you just drag the phone number over here, which is the C header. Now we're gonna be creating a JSON file over here, and if you're wondering why I'm doing all of this, then I'm basically going to be passing out all the information to VAPI. So using this HTTP module, so I'm going to be connecting this using the VAPI API call request, and it's of course going to be a post request, and you're gonna have to put your API key over here, and then after that, this is the code that you guys will have to use. It's actually provided by VAPI. You can just head over to VAPI, and then you can see a documentation over here and click on API references. And after you head over to their API section, you can actually see this code which will be provided by VAPI. And for providing all the custom variables. So for example, the property type, the location. I'm just gonna be choosing the JSON string over here. Let me just get rid of this. So this is a JSON string that we will get from this module. So let's just head over to this one now. Okay, so we got the first name here over again, and we don't actually need the first name over here, I think. So let's just get rid of this one. We actually need the phone number only. So anyways, we got the first name here, and then we have the location, the property type, the last contacted, the interest level, the budget, all the information, and of course we have the current time. So if I head over to Vapi and if I click on the system prompt, then you can see that these are the variables that I've recently explained. So the variables that you actually saw on the JSON string, so it's going to from the make scenario, it's going to actually go through all the information from the Google Sheets, and then it's going to pass out to the JSON create JSON module, and then using this code, it's going to actually pass all this information to the LLM so that it's actually aware of all the information. I hope I was able to explain this to you guys properly, but yeah, this is actually how it works. And I'm gonna be clicking on not this one, but yeah, basically just explain all the custom data over here. So as every lead has different type of data, so for example their budget, the interest level, it's going to basically iterate all the rows individually and then pass all the data, and then using this API request, I'm gonna be this is the assistant ID. So it's going to pull out all the assistant ID, the JSON string. So all the location, budget, all of this data will be passed on over here. And then this is the number, the phone number, which we have set up in set variables. And then the first name, the phone number ID, all of that. And after we click on OK, we're all set up. And then this is the caller ID that we're gonna be putting up over here. So the last module is the caller ID. So we're basically going to be updating all the caller ID from each of our calls. So of course, caller IDs are very unique for each of the calls. So we're gonna be updating the caller IDs on our CRM. So uh, let's just this is the cell number, and the row number is basically the one which is of course being iterated, passed on currently. So this is the row number, and then we have the data from the HTTP module. So we're going to be using this as the caller ID. So the caller ID is over here. This is the caller ID, and I'm going to be clicking on OK. So if you run this module once, you're going to be receiving a call from using this module. This module is basically responsible for initiating all the calls. So as it's going to be receiving all the information, the assistant ID, the JSON string, which are the custom variables, uh, and the phone number, the first name. So this module is basically responsible for initiating all the calls, and this repeater module is of course responsible for repeating this scenario over and over again, so that the calls are being initiated. So it basically will be switching up to the next call, the next lead, and over again, and then it's going to be repeating this whole process. So if you actually want to have a delay for your calls, then you can actually set up a tool over here. So what it's going to do is basically it's going to set up a delay over here. So I'm just going to click on delay. Look, is this the one? Maybe sleep. Yeah, so we can click on tools and then head over to sleep, and you can just set a timer over here. So the max timer is 300 seconds. So you can just select 300 over here. I think it's around 5 minutes. So it's going to basically you're putting a delay over here for 5 minutes for each of the calls. So it's going to be waiting for 5 minutes until it switches to the next call. So I hope it makes sense. And this is it for this scenario. Now I'll be switching up to the next scenario. All right, so we have the appointment sitter scenario over here. So this scenario will be responsible for handling all the appointments. So whenever the user wants to book an appointment and the slot is actually free. So for example, like I explained earlier, so the user wants to book an appointment for maybe let's say 3rd November at 3 p.m. So if the slot is free for 3rd November at 3 p.m., it's basically going to check the calendar over here using this module. And then if the slot is free, it's going to create an event. So it's going to book the meeting over here on the Google Calendar. And then it's going to send out the response to VAPI during the call that the call has been successfully booked. Great, your appointment has been booked. Now, if the slot for which the user suggested has already been booked, then it's going to take this route, and then it's going to check for alternative time zones for the next 24 hours. So if the slot is booked for 3 p.m., then it's going to choose a time for within the next 24 hours and see which time is available for the realtor, and then it's going to suggest the time. So if the slot for which the user wanted to book an appointment, so which is 3rd November at 3 p.m., if the slot is already booked in the realtor's calendar, then it's going to check for alternative times, basically when the user realtor is actually free, starting from the next 24 hours from 3 p.m. So when the it's going to basically check the time slots for which the realtor is free, and then it's going to send this information to the webhook, and we're gonna be getting a response on the on the phone call that unfortunately the slot for which you wanted to book an appointment is already booked, but you can book an appointment, for example, from 5 p.m. From anywhere within 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. whenever you like. So yeah, this is just an overview, but let me just go through this from the start to the end of the scenario real quick. So this is the webhook. So if the user wanted to book an appointment, then using the set appointment tool which we have created on Vapi, it's going to trigger the scenario over here. So whenever the user wants to book an appointment, it's going to trigger the webhook from the URL that we have set up. So we're gonna be copying the URL and then pasting it on the tool section over there on Vapi, and then whenever the user wants to book an appointment, it's going to trigger this webhook, and we're going to be receiving all the data, and then we're going to be have to converting the time into ISO format. And if you do not know what an ISO format is, it basically looks like this. So we have the here the month, I guess. Yeah, it's the month, and then the date over here, and then T basically means the time in 24-hour format. So 14:30:00. This is the message. This is the user message over here. This is the current date and time. We're just informing the LLM, the GPT module, that this is the current time, and you'll be using this information accordingly. You can just go through the prompts, and you can of course find this template in the description, so you can just check it out whenever you want. And then if you head over to Google Calendar, this is the result which we will receive from this module. So for example, if it was 3 p.m., this module will be converting this date into ISO format. And if you're wondering why we're converting this information into ISO format, is because make only handles on the when it comes to date and time, make only handles this information in ISO format. So yeah, it's important that we actually convert this data accordingly. Now this the admin is, so the like basically the duration of the meeting, how much is going to be like. And yeah, so if the slot is free, then it's going to basically book an appointment, create an event over here, and then send this as a response. And we've also set up a filter that if this does not exist. Now if you're getting confused over here, then let me just explain this real quick. It's quite simple. So, for example, if the user wanted to book an appointment for 3 p.m. for maybe let's say 7th November, 3rd November, then it's going to check the calendar. And if the slot is actually booked, then we're going to be receiving an module, an object, which is that this object will actually exist. So, for example, if the 3 p.m. slot has already been booked, then this will be receiving an object that for let's say 3 p.m. and then this is the start one, and the end object will be like maybe 3:30 p.m. for which the slot is basically booked. So, if this object does not exist, it simply means that the user is free at this point, at this time. So if you're getting confused over here, you can just play around with this module over here on your make scenario, and you'll easily understand how this actually works. It's quite simple. And then we're gonna be checking all the information over here again. So we're gonna be checking for the next 24 hours. So as the user asked for 3 p.m. and it's booked, so it's going to be checking for the next 24 hours. And yeah, then we're gonna be passing this information to convert this into JSON structure, so that we can actually pass this to Chat GPT, which will be responsible for finding all the alternate time zones. So as we can see over here, if you go to the prompt, we have actually provided the information for which the slot has already been booked. So The user tried to book the following time, but it was unavailable. So which is of course 3 p.m. But this slot is unavailable. Now we are also providing it with the information that for the next 24 hours we're basically checking out which slots are actually booked. So for the next 24 hours, if they also have 2 or 3 more meetings, it's going to be providing all the information over here, all the time zones for which the meeting has been booked, for which the calendar of the realtor is actually busy, as simple as that. And we're basically providing it this information so that it does not suggest any slot within this time range, right? We are also providing it with the information of our like current region basically. And then you must ensure that the recommended time ranges are available by referencing the unavailable times. Now we're also going to be sending a final message to the user using this module. And as the user has been it's basically going to provide an example output just like this one. It's basically going to be analyzing the data over here from this module. And then it's going to send out an output like this one, that unfortunately your chosen time slot is unavailable. However, we can offer you these time ranges instead, from 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. And then this information will be passed out to the webhook. So we're gonna be the which will be passed over to the during the AI phone call, and it's going to be using this as a response. That during the phone call, the AI phone caller is going to say something like, "Unfortunately, this slot has already been booked, but you can choose a slot anywhere within this, and this time." So yeah, this is the appointment center scenario, and I understand if it sounds a bit difficult to get the modules straight. I mean, there is a lot happening in this scenario, but I hope I was able to explain this to you guys properly. Now we're gonna be heading over to the final scenario, and yeah, let's get over it. All right, guys. So this is our third scenario, and this is the webhook module. So this scenario is basically responsible for analyzing the transcript of the entire conversation and then updating our CRM, our Google Sheets, according to the conversation of the call. So if the user decided to book an appointment, or how the outcome of the call was, for example, if was it a positive call, and what is the next objective? It's going to be uh, updating all the information over here. So I have another sheet over here. So this is the first name, of course, and this is the caller ID, which will be updated from the very first scenario which I explained. So this is the so insert caller ID. So it's actually going to be updating the caller ID over here in this sheet. And it's actually important that we actually make sure that we match the caller IDs when updating the information. And that's because the caller IDs are actually unique. So for example, the names can be like similar. So we can have two leads which have the name John, but we cannot have the same caller ID twice. So it's actually important that when updating the information of the call, we make sure that the caller IDs are spot on. Like we have to make sure that this is the caller ID that for this lead, and then after matching the information, we're gonna be updating the uh, two steps over here, the three steps, basically the call summary, the summary of the call, what is the next step, the next initiative of the call, and the call outcome. Oh no, and of course you can actually update this according to your own needs. So if you have an additional if you want to add additional information to this sheet, then you can just simply add this over here, and maybe just modify this prompt a little bit, modify the scenario a little bit, and you're good to go. But I'm just going to be explaining this scenario to you real quick. So the webhook module. Now you're gonna have to paste this, copy this webhook address, and then head over to VAPI and click on advanced. And yeah, this is where we're gonna have to paste this on the server URL. And after that, after the call has been finished, after the call has ended, and it's going to analyze the transcript. So this ChatGPT module is going to be analyzing the transcript of the entire conversation. So this is the prompt, and and this is another big prompt. But as this is performing an important step over here, we have to make sure that the information is being classified properly. So this is a role. You are an intelligent AI real estate assistant designed to carefully analyze all transcripts and categorize all the call outcomes. You'll be provided with the template, so you can just check the prompt yourself, go through the prompt yourself. So the criteria for call outcome. So we're just asking it to label the information accordingly. So you're gonna be analyzing the transcript of the conversation, and if the transcript looks like that the lead has agreed to schedule an appointment, then you're gonna be labeling it as success. And then if the lead explicitly declines interest or stated they are not ready at this time, then no interest. And yeah, unreachable if the lead did not answer, requested a voicemail, or ended the call without providing any qualifying information. We're just asking it to label this according to the transcript. And critical for next criteria for next step. So schedule appointment. So if the call outcome is success, then an appointment was scheduled. So yeah, so if the appointment has been successfully scheduled, then it's going to label as schedule appointment. And re-engage. So if the call is like there was no real movement during the conversation, then it's going to say something like re-engage, follow-up date. It's basically going to label this accordingly. And then I'm just asking it to provide the output in a JSON structure. And if no further steps are required, label the next step as end call. Do not include JSON or any markdown style. I'm just asking it to analyze the information of the transcript, analyze the transcript properly, and then provide the output, which is the call outcome, which I've seen in my sample data on Google Sheets. The no interest and the next step. Sorry, the next step and the yeah, basically these two information, the call outcome and the next step. And I'm just asking it to provide it in a JSON structure so that I can just parse the information of the JSON format. So it's basically going to parse the JSON information over here, and then it's going to provide the output into a JSON structure so that we can individually pass them into our Google Sheets. So this module will be responsible for updating all the rows, and this module will be responsible for matching the caller ID. So like I explained earlier, so it's important that the caller ID is being matched according to the call. So we're gonna be searching the row over here, and then um, we're gonna be using the caller ID header from the second sheet, which is the result sheet. And then we're gonna be matching the caller ID, which we will be receiving from the webhook module, which is over here. We're just ensuring that this is the right caller ID over here for the right person. So that's all. And I think that's all for this module. So now let's head over to the final module, and this is, as you guys can see, bulk update rows advanced. So it's basically going to update both of these rows over here. Actually, all of these rows over here. Sorry. So it's basically going to update all the rows over here. The three rows: call outcome, the next step, and the call summary, using this one module. So this is the spreadsheet ID, and if you do not know which one is the spreadsheet ID, you can just head over to your Google Sheets, and then this is the spreadsheet ID on your link. You can just find this on your link. So you're gonna have to simply copy this part from this slash to this slash, and all the letters in this between. This is your spreadsheet ID. Copy it and paste it over here, and this is, and you'll be able to access your sheet from over there. And then this is the range from which we want to access all the information, all the data. So of course we're going to be using the caller ID to match the row number accordingly. So for example, as we're going to be updating the information from C to E column, which is, this is the C column, which is the call outcome, and this is the D and the E column. So we're going to be bulk updating all the rows over here. And so for example, we got all the list of leads over here, but for this, of course, as you guys can see, I have only one information. So for example, the caller ID has been updated from this module, of course. So from this very first from this very first scenario, once the call has been initiated, the caller ID has been instantly updated on my CRM. And after that, as the caller ID has been updated, I'm just using the search rows module on my third scenario. I'm just using this module to actually make sure that this is the right call. This is the right call ID. So after it has been matched, it's basically going to update all the rows accordingly. So C column, D column, and E column. So as this is the second row, so after matching with the caller ID, we're going to be receiving the row number over here, which is the second row, of course. So we're going to be receiving the row over here, which is the second row. So C2 to E2. So basically, as you guys can see, it's C2. If you check it over here, it's C2 to E2, E2. So once the caller IDs are being updated during each of the calls, the row number will of course change accordingly. So yeah, now if we head over to column one, so as the range, according to the range, as we have started it from C, as we're starting from the C column, so our column one will be C. So we're basically providing the output, we're basically mapping the output from the power station module over here simply. And the third column, so the third column is of course the call summary. So we're just making sure that the call summary is, we're just mapping the call summary over here using the webhook module. So we got the summary of the entire conversation from our webhook module. So that's it. Alright guys, so this is it for today's video, and I really hope you guys found this video valuable. I hope you learned a lot from this video, and how you can actually call all your lost leads one by one. I mean, if you're a business owner and you want to implement this in your business, then I hope I was able to explain to you this entire process properly. And of course, you can check the results up to download all the templates. And if you're an agency owner and you are selling these solutions to your businesses, then yeah, I hope you learned a lot from this video. So that's it for today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.